Hi everyone, this is Ariel and welcome back to my channel. Before we get started, I want to include this copyright disclaimer. Everything in this video is considered fair use for the purpose of criticism and commentary. All opinions stated are my own and you are welcome to disagree. This video is purely for entertainment and discussion purposes. Okay, so let's jump in. There's a new documentary on Netflix called Strip Down, Rise Up, and it has created a lot of controversy. Is it a pole dance documentary or is it something else? Does it represent the community? Is it appropriate at times? These are a lot of the questions that are being asked. But before we get into that, let's take a look at who is behind the film. So this is a Netflix original production in partnership with Kavana Entertainment. Kavana Entertainment is owned by Michelle Ohoyen, who is the director of the film. I'm not pronouncing her name correctly, but that's my best guess. It features Sheila Kelly, Amy Bond, Janine Butterfly, Patricia Buck, and Evelyn Oshita. Okay, those are the featured people in the film. So let's get back to Michelle Ohoyen, who is an Academy-nominated director, producer, and writer. So what this tells me is that this woman is a storyteller. That is her job, to select stories for film. The one that I'm interested in watching that she made is called Cowboy del Amor, which is a documentary about a matchmaker, a former horse breeder turned matchmaker who connects American men to Mexican women who want to live in America. So I'm very curious to watch that film and see what it's about, but I can already tell you that this woman's job is to select stories to make into movies. Enter Sheila Kelly. So Sheila Kelly is a former actress and the creator of S Factor. S Factor is its own unique brand of pole dancing. So if you go to an S Factor studio, which there are multiple locations in the US, and you take an S Factor class, you're going to have a specific experience that represents Sheila Kelly's teachings and methods. I just want to include in this conversation that there are plenty of students and teachers who have had wonderful experiences in S Factor, and they are also great dancers. So it's not all bad. I know that this movie has raised a lot of questions around her methods and her interactions with the participants, but it definitely fits the storyline for this movie. As you can see in the title, it is Strip Down, Rise Up. It seems to be about how pole dancing has healed women and helped them reclaim their sexuality, many of whom lost it through traumatic experiences, life-altering illnesses, or just never had that connection to begin with. It certainly does not represent the pole dance community at large and what it's all about now, and it certainly does not address that many people pole dance for a job, and their motivations and experiences are entirely different, okay? That is real life. If you are pole dancing on your own free time, of your own free will, for fun, it is not the same as somebody who is going to work and dealing with clients face to face. So I just want to make sure that's acknowledged, and it was not included in this documentary. Again, I think the documentary follows a very specific storyline, a very specific aspect of the pole dance community through Sheila's teachings, which are extremely unique and specific to her, as well as a few other players in the pole dance community, which you'll see later. One thing I think this documentary did get right is that people bring different motivations to class for why they're there. And you will hear a lot of people say that they're looking for confidence, they want improved body image, and they want to feel sexy. I've heard all of those things. We just haven't sat down in a circle and shared it like this. I also found pole to be incredibly therapeutic and healing. When I started, I was still recovering from my eating disorder, and it was one of the first times I ever experienced feeling comfortable in my own skin in front of other people, especially women. I had never had an encouraging experience like that in a group before. And a lot of people will tell you the same thing about pole dancing. And so I think that's why it's so attractive. I think that's why the storyline is so attractive. But not everybody comes to it for trauma healing. Some people just want to learn how to dance and think it's fun. And that is okay as well. It's also okay to pursue the S Factor curriculum and enjoy it. So, although that was a main part of the movie and it definitely caused a lot of reactions in people, there were other elements that sort of touched on pole dance history. One was the profile of Janine Butterfly. Janine was the first USPDF National Pole Dance Champion. She is a legend in the community and a professional aerialist. I did not know that she was inspired to start pole dancing after watching Pantera Blacksmith in a club. That was really cool. I'm glad they included that piece of pole dance history. Again, I don't think this was a movie that was designed to be a in-depth historical recount of the origins of pole dancing, the girls who started in the club and brought it to the mainstream. We got a little taste of some history with this connection between Janine and Pantera, but that was about it. Nevertheless, I'm glad it was included because I didn't know about it. Some other parts that I really liked was the backstory and profile on Amy Bond. Here she is with her husband, who says, "It's really great and sexy that my wife pole dances. You think it's going to be amazing, but after a while, you just get sick of watching pole dancing," which is completely accurate for all of the significant others of pole competitors like Amy Bond. So she's a studio owner, and her profile and inclusion in the movie kind of showed the side of pole dancing that is more competitive, that's more sport-like, although there is a lot of artistic and exotic expression in these competitions as well. But I really enjoyed learning about her backstory and how she had done porn when she was younger and had difficulty transitioning out of it, the harassment that she experienced. I'm so thankful she shared that in the movie and was so vulnerable, because I'm sure there is somebody out there who needed to hear her story. And that goes for all of the participants. I mean, whether you agree with the methods of teaching or the documentary itself, I know that those women sharing those stories helped somebody who was watching, and they were brave to do so. So let's keep that in mind. I also really liked that they included the experience of Amber, who did not like all of the personal trauma sharing that was going on in the S Factor class and who ended up quitting. Her experience is completely valid. I'm glad they included it, and I hope she found another studio to visit that was more in line with what she was looking for. Like I said, there are plenty of people who just want to pole dance because it's a great workout, or they're dancers and it's just another style that they want to learn. Those are totally valid reasons, and there are definitely opportunities for those people to experience pole dance without having to dig deep and share their past. Evelyn's transformation in this film, she's one of the featured people, is extraordinarily powerful and emotional. You could watch it just for that storyline, honestly. And I loved at the end how she said that her experience helped her to just breathe and to be in her body. I think that is such a powerful lesson a lot of people get from pole dancing. And honestly, it's a lot of my coaching is to help people breathe and come back into their bodies rather than living in what Sheila calls the critical masculine mind all the time, the one that's measuring, evaluating, critiquing everything. I agreed with that part of her teaching. I certainly don't endorse everything that I saw in the film or, the film as a whole in general. But there were parts that I liked, there were parts that I found relevant, and there were some things that I learned. So overall, I liked it for what it was. It definitely wasn't a historical pole dance documentary, but it was a movie about pole dancing, and it definitely focused on why some people come to pole dancing or are attracted to it as a form of healing and therapy. And that is definitely a part of the student base for sure. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. It is okay to disagree, but please keep it respectful. Whether we like it or not, pole dancing is becoming more and more mainstream, and we are not always going to be in control of the narrative that is put out. I think this movie is a perfect example of that. So this narrative does not represent everyone's experience, nor the pole dance community at large. It certainly doesn't address the origins of pole dancing in the club and what it's like for people who actually do this as a job, and all of the unique struggles that they face, which is completely different than people who are choosing to do this for a hobby or a sport. Okay. Knowing that, let me know what you think about it, and I will see you in my next video for more pole dance related topics.